Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Hajj. Once a year, Muslim of every ethnic group, color, social status, and culture gather together in Mecca and stand before the Kaaba, praising Allah together. It is a ritual that is designed to promote the bonds of Islamic brotherhood and sisterhood by showing that everyone is equal in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Hajj makes Muslim feel real importance of life here on earth and the afterlife by stripping away all the markers of social status, wealth and pride. In the Hajj, all are truly equal. The Hajjis or pilgrims wear simple white clothes called ihram. During the Hajj, the pilgrims perform acts of worship and they renew their senses of purpose in the world. Mecca is a place that is really holy to all Muslims. It is so holy that non-Muslim is not allowed to enter. For Muslims, the Hajj is the fifth and final pillar of Islam. It occurs in the month of Dhul HAJJ, which is the 12th month of the Islamic lunar calendar. It is a journey that every sane adult Muslim must undertake at least once in his or her lifetime if they can afford it and are physically able. History of the Hajj. 4,000 years ago, the valley of Mecca was a dry and uninhabited place. Muslims believe that Prophet Ibrahim a.s. was instructed to bring his wife Hajra and their child Ismail to Arabia from Palestine to protect them from the jealousy of Ibrahim's first wife Sarah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told Prophet Ibrahim salam to leave them on their own, and he did so with some supplies of food and water. However, the supplies quickly ran out, and within a few days, Hajra and Ismail were suffering from hunger and dehydration. In her dehydration, Hajra ran up and down two hills called Safa and Marwa, trying to see if she could spot any help in the distance. Finally, she collapsed beside Ismail al-Islam and prayed to Allah for deliverance. Ismail struck his foot on the ground, and this caused a spring of water to gush forth from the earth. Hajra and Ismail were saved. Now they had secure water supply. They were able to trade water with passing nomads for foods and supplies. After a while, the Prophet Ibrahim salam returned from Palestine to check on his family and was amazed to see them running a profitable well. The Prophet Ibrahim salam was told by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to build a shrine dedicated to him. Ibrahim salam and Ismail constructed a small stone structure, the Kaaba, which was to be the gathering place for all who wished to strengthen their faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As the years passed, Ismail a.s. was blessed with prophethood, and he gave the nomads of the desert the message of surrender to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. After many centuries, Mecca became a thriving city thanks to its reliable water source, the well of Zamzam. Gradually, the people began to adopt polytheistic ideas and worship Sprite and many different gods. The shrine of Prophet Ibrahim was used to store idols. After many years, Allah told the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ that he should restore the Kaaba to the worship of Allah only. In the year 628, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ set out a journey with 1,400 of his followers. This was the first pilgrimage in Islam and would be re-established the religious tradition of the Prophet Ibrahim ﷺ. Guide to going to Mecca. It's best to travel light, so only take essentials. Many pilgrims fly to Jeddah and then travel to Mecca by bus. Once you get to Mecca, there are two rituals which you can perform: the lesser pilgrimage or Umrah and the main pilgrimage or Hajj. The Umrah is an extra optional pilgrimage and does not count as once in a lifetime Hajj. Although it includes some of the rituals of the Hajj, they are shortened and there are fewer of them. Most pilgrims who come for the Hajj arrive a few days before the actual start and perform Umrah first. Being pure. To carry out the pilgrimage rituals, you need to be in a state of ihram, which is a special state of ritual purity. You do this by making a statement of intention, wearing special white clothes, which are also called ihram, and obeying the regulations below. The person on the Hajj may not engage in martial relations, shave or cut their nails, use scented oils, kill or hunt anything, fight or argue. Women must not cover their faces even if they would do so in their home country. Men may not wear clothing with stitchings. Bathing is allowed, but scented soaps are used. Umrah. The Hajj is a real pilgrimage, a journey with rites and rituals to be done along the way. You begin at a place just outside Mecca called the Miqat or entry station of the Hajj. There you bath, put on the ihram, the special white clothing, make the intention for Umrah and begin reciting the Talbiyah dua. Then you go to Masjid al-Haram and walk around Kaaba 7 times, repeating du'as and prayers. This is called the Tawaf. Afterwards, you should sip some Zamzam water. Zamzam water is water from the Zamzam well, the sacred well which opened in the desert to save Hajra and Ismail from dying of thirst. Next, you go to walkway between the hills of Safa and Marwa and walk back and forth between them 7 times. This completes the Umrah portion of the Hajj rituals and some of the Ihram restrictions are relaxed. Hajj. Now make your intention for the Hajj and put on the Ihram garments again. Travel to Mina on the 8th of Dhul Hijjah and date in the Islamic calendar and remain there until Fajr down next morning. Then you travel to the valley of Arafat and stand in the open praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The heat of the Arabia at midday provides a hint as to what the day of judgment will be like. At the end of the day, travel to Muzdalifah for the night. Gather together 49 or 70 small stones together to use the next day. In the morning, you return to Mina and throw the stones at the pillar called Jamarat. This represents the devil. Then a sacrifice called Qurbani should be made, in which a lamb or sheep is slaughtered and the meat distributed among the poor. After this, men's heads are shaved and women cut a lock of their hair. Then return to Mecca and make a tawaf. This is the ritual of walking around the Kaaba 7 times. Then it's back to Mina for 3 or 4 days, stoning the pillar each day. Finally, do a farewell tawaf in Masjid al-Ihram on the 12th day of month of Dhul Hijjah. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's forgiveness, make dua, and the Hajj is finished. Many people then go to Prophet's Mosque in Medina, but this is optional. A man who has completed the Hajj is called a HAJJ. A woman who has completed the Hajj is called HAJJ. At the end of the Hajj, Muslims from all over the world celebrate the holiday known as Eid al-Adha or the Festival of Sacrifice. This festival commemorates the obedience of Prophet Ibrahim a.s. when he was ordered to sacrifice his son Ismail a.s. Ibrahim a.s. proved his love and devotion to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by showing his willingness to kill his beloved son if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wished it. In the end, Ibrahim a.s. did not have to kill his son, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him a ram to sacrifice instead.